Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the Advisor Advantage with James Murphy. We are here with a very, very strong. What would you say? Strong agent, a
powerful personality,
Mr. Middletown himself. Charlie O'Rourke is here with us today, talking about how we can give you, our first-time home buyers, an advantage in this crazy market. And without further ado, we hand it over to Charlie. How are you, my friend, Mr. Middletown? How are you, brother?
Good, man. Pleasure to be here. Can't wait to give people the advantage, you know?
That's it. That's what we're here for, brother. Tell me, Mr. Middletown, where did that come from?
It is a funny story. So it's a long one. It's a long story.
We got time.
Snapshot. You're asked, my first transaction, we used to go meet the appraisers. And when I went, it was a VA loan out in 3 Pensbrook in Jackson. So I went out there, brought my little, soda for them, like your mentor tells you, like he used to tell you to do. Right. Go meet people in person. So you got there, told him I was brand new and stuff. And this is a 70-year-old VA appraiser. Right. Now he's definitely like, a tough guy, right?
Oh, yeah, he's in the business long enough.
So we hit it off real quick, just told him I knew and all this other stuff. And with that, inside that conversation, it was great. Comps were fine, everything. Brought the comps too. We used to bring the comps, all these things that we used to do. And I used a hag map to get there too.
Nice.
But so while I'm talking to him, we start talking about domain names. And I'm like, what? Like, I'd seen it. You know what I mean? You always see them. Like, I remember the first one I saw was on the back of a trooper car. It was like njsp.org. I'm like, what the hell is that? When I was like in high school.
Right.
So he's like, we just started talking. He's like, man, Coca-Cola.com sold for X and X. He's like, if you think it's something good, you buy it. And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever, old man. You know what I mean? This is the old dog teaching me new tricks.
Yeah.
So with that, fast forward about 2 weeks later, I'm in the office and, people were talking, and one of this other agent was about to go show about 5 houses in a certain township or borough. And it's not exactly, maybe not the most, the borough everybody wants to live in,
Yeah.
So with that, the older agent, who was hilarious, this guy Joey, looks at her or him, and I forget, he goes, you should be Mrs. So-and-so. You're showing so many houses in that town today or whatever, like as a derogatory thing.
Right.
And I was like, all right, cool. Heard that. Went back to work at PetSmart, which I did for like 2 years when I first got into real estate, which I recommend everybody who gets into real estate or in any business, keep a business where you're in front of people going and tell everyone you meet while you're at your job, whether they're like you already, what you're doing, what you're getting into. So with that, I'm sitting there working on, I'm like, what if I took that negative and made it a positive? And I'm Mr. Middletown.
I like it.
So I went back to the office at 12:30, 1 o'clock at night, and logged into domain names, and I bought MrMiddletown.com. $30 back then. Now you can go GoDaddy for $8.99 if you're a bulk member like I am. But and I bought it, man. And then with that, I just strapped it to the back of my car, MrMiddletown.com, and I actually bought that realestateguy.net, so it explained what Mr. Middletown was, because I knew it was going to be like, what's he, a bodybuilder, or is he like, is he like, did he win in a pageant, or you know what I mean? So I was smart enough then to realize it needed a tagline or something to let people know what it was. And man, I just wrote it, and people talked about it. Other agents hated it. I would be at open houses, and the ladies would be like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'd go upstairs, and I'd watch them at the back of my car. Who's he think he is? Who the fuck is he? You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, if you're talking about it, the guy at the light who doesn't hate me or want to hate me for claiming this name is talking about it too. So that's how that was the birth of it, and that was 20 years ago. But it's gone in a whole bunch of different directions. And that proof of concept, which I've toyed with, because everyone, when markets get tough, you're like, well, maybe I should sell New Jersey. Right. Steve sells New Jersey. I should sell New Jersey. You can't sell New Jersey. It's a small state. You can't possibly know what's going on in every market in New Jersey. That's why I believe in hyper-local, hyper-focused real estate. So with that, I went, Charlie O does, on and off with stuff. And then when I got back to my core and said, who are you? I'm Mr. Middletown. And what are you? I'm the best realtor in town. Hyper local real estate, And the second I branded it again, like that real estate guy, put it together, it really started to click. And but I just believe in it. You can't know. Like you can't know what side of the street in Union is better than the other. Like which one gets the most traffic? Like if I don't know that, but Mr. Union will. So, so I took the proof of concept, Mr. Middletown, and I bought MrZipCode.com during the COVID, and I'm literally licensing and franchising every zip code to a Mr. or Mrs. in the United States.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So from that conversation with that VA appraiser,
and now
I don't know. I wish I knew his name.
I was just saying, have you ever thought about who that was or reached out to him?
I would love to pull that file and see who the appraiser was. I could probably get that done actually.
Yeah. Well, if any VA appraisers are listening there and you know Charlie, let us know. Shoot us a DM or whatever the heck you do.
You'd be about 90 or 80 something right now because he was like 60 something or 70 at the time. Right. So
possibly retired.
Hey man, I hope you're still around kicking it, too. Bringing in those values, you know.
I love it. Well, now we know that you're preparing a dynasty here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about let's reel in. Let's get hyper focused on the real estate stuff. So tell us more about who you are. I mean, you gave us a little bit about your background, but as far as the name goes, but let's tell the audience who is Mr. Middletown, you know, and what does Mr. Middletown do? How well do you do it, and why would somebody want to work with you?
Yeah, you know, I just again believe in truly hyper local real estate. I believe in relationship capital. I believe in sweat equity, you know, all these phrases that we hear, but they mean so much, especially when you practice them. And, you know, you don't just preach it, you practice it. I pride myself on, you know, referral business for 18 years. I didn't have a follow-up system. I never did realtor.com. I never did Zillow, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because, you know, if you do the right thing, I had a lot of businesses, I had landscape, crazy stuff all over the place, but I just never paid for business. So, and I hated it, you know what I mean? I just like the fact that I didn't. But if you want to get to the next level, you got to kind of like, you know, dial it in, figure out what works, and maybe get into some lead gen and stuff like that. But, and not all lead gen you have to pay for if you're good, you know what I mean?
You're good, yeah.
So,
and especially if you're in the business long enough.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years, it's a long time.
Yeah. And I guess
20 plus, right?
Yeah, and I guess what would somebody say that doesn't know me? Like, I really give a shit about my clients and the deal. Yeah. Like, I really do. Ask my girlfriend. I'm a lunatic. You know what I mean? Like, you do not want to live with me some weeks.
Oh, I know his girlfriend. She would attest to that.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm nuts. Like, I care about the deal. I care that the buyer said he would do X, and the listing agent said she would do X, and if they don't do that, I have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Because that's all we have is our word, and to me, that's all that matters. And seems to be slipping away. I hope it makes a comeback, but you know, between text and email, whatever, people just think what they said doesn't matter. They don't have to stand by it, and I disagree with that.
It's like integrity is a lost art, right? It's missing from so many.
Mediocrity is the new norm. Mediocrity is the new black, whatever you want to call it. It's just like, you know, it's sad, but people need to dial it in. But it's also a lot of newer agents and a lot of new people that didn't do the business back like we did it. You know, where, you know, I still have people sign contracts on the hood of my car. Like, Lily, so I had her sign it on the hood of my Cadillac.
Really? Yeah.
Like, because she is an older buyer. Right. She needs to be explained what's in this contract. What is she signing? And dot loop it to you. And like, okay, cool. Like, the reason why most deals fall apart is because people dot loop the seller's disclosure.
Yeah.
If there's something on my seller's disclosure that's over, the water heater's 10 years old, the AC unit's 15 years old, I make the buyers initial that part of the sales disclosure, not just the bottom, like they read it. They didn't read it. I sent it to you. You sent it back in 10 minutes. You didn't read it, you know? And then 2 weeks from now we lost the momentum in the deal. Now you have a problem with the 20-year-old roof that was in the seller's disclosure, you know?
Right.
The realtor didn't even read it probably.
Right.
That's the problem. So
it's definitely a problem, and it happens probably more often than people realize. You know, I can tell you that there's plenty of times where I've taken applications and, you know, sent it out, you know, because everything is e-signatures now, and then it comes back, and I said, do you want to even discuss this? Do you want to go over this? Like, we should. Like, these are big documents.
This is important stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we're here, right? We're here to try and guide them, direct our first-time home buyers. And part of this show is really geared towards giving the advantage to these buyers out there, right? This market is crazy, and I'm sure you can talk a little bit about what buying in Middletown is like right now in 2023. It's craziness. It's post-COVID, but you know, the craziness of everything we've gone through is still out there in this market. So talk a little bit. What's the Middletown market look like?
No, very low inventory.
Yeah.
Prices are higher still. I mean, you know, it's important to price it maybe not way ahead where it should get. It's good to price it accurately and let it get there if it's going to get there.
Right.
In my opinion. Strategically, you know, do you price it a little lower depending on the condition? You know, is it a unicorn? Is there weird things about it? You know what I mean? Like, is it a whole colonial in great shape? No, then we give it a shot, whatever. But so it depends on the house. It depends on, that's the problem. It depends on a lot of things. And that's why you need a hyper-local, hyper-focused real estate professional to do that for you, you know?
Yeah. That knows where the market, you know, what's going on in the market that the buyers are looking at.
Yeah.
So if you had to give an advantage to some of these buyers? What kind of advice or tips would you give to a first time home buyer, especially one looking in Middletown?
I give this advice to anybody buying a home, especially if you're selling a home somewhere else and coming to a certain area that you really want to be in. I meet so many people. I don't do a lot of open house, but when I do, I mean, at least if there's 10 people there, 6 of them have lost 5 or 6 deals. They're distraught. They're upset. They don't understand why. They're not sick of it. They jump out of the market. They jump back in the market, which probably drives the loan officers crazy because they think they're getting it. You know what I mean? It just screws everything up.
Yeah.
And know what the common question is? Well, who's your realtor?
Right.
Well, we sold in, whatever, Bridgewater, and, that's my realtor. I'm like, well, that's so selfish of that realtor.
Yeah.
That's beyond selfish of that realtor who doesn't know this area and keeps losing deals for you, because she could split that or refer that to a local agent that has relationship capital and local love, I like to call it,
Local love.
and actually get them a house. Because if you got 15 contracts and you're from Bridgewater, I don't know you. So a pre-approval, I want the pre-approval for the mortgage and the pre-approval for the realtor that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that you know your clients.
Yeah.
You know how crazy they're going to get when their dad comes in and says, this is falling down. He didn't pay that much for this house ever. You're overpaying. Like, I need to know you can wrangle your client and deal with that. It's not going to blow the deal up 2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
So that's so important to me. So please stop being greedy, realtors. And I'm here for you if you need to, your buyers and sellers want to come to Middletown, because I will do the same for you. I will not I wouldn't list my friend's house in Linden.
Really? Yeah.
Because he's a good friend of mine, and I don't know that market. Right. So I'm going to risk losing him 10, 20 grand because I can service that area.
Right. Because you're trying to get your commission.
But my team can. Now I have referral partners everywhere. You'll get Mr. Linden, Mrs. Linden, whatever. You know what I mean? That knows that area, and we'll get you top dollar. And then I'll get them the house down here.
Yeah. Because
we got local love.
That's it. Local love. I love that. We're gonna hashtag that somehow. Local love.
I already did. Do you? Local love business spotlights. I do. Yeah.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I'm literally a maniac.
I think you got a URL for almost anything, don't you?
Yeah.
Everything.
I own hundreds of them.
Tell us, what's this hat you're wearing? Back hustle.
So back hustle. Always. The day I got into real estate, my first inclination was to strap the domain on the back of my car, right?
Right.
Why did I do that? Because growing up, my father collected, bought, traded, and sold Lionel trains. And he had a green van, which if you go to backhustle.com, the about page, that picture's there.
Nice.
Me as a little kid standing in front of it. And it said, Lionel trains wanted, 732. Right. I would watch people come up to my dad and, hey, my grandmother has Lionel trains. They would approach him. Right. He became the lighthouse for people that wanted Lionel trains or wanted to buy or sell Lionel trains, right? So I was like, well, it's natural for me to do that. I want to be the lighthouse for real estate. I want people. I'm not tugboat, man. I'm not going out. I'm the lighthouse, Yeah. So that was a natural inclination to do that. The landscaping trailer I had, I used the back doors, my real estate billboard. The back of my cars are always Mr. Middletown and out. Like, I'm paying a lot of money for my lease, so I'm using that real estate. So with that, fast forward, COVID comes. I'm in the back of an Uber. And this guy's telling me how he sits at home and he doesn't drive around anymore because business is down, and Uber's taking more money from him, Lyft's taking more money than him, and he's telling me this through plexiglass. Mm-hmm. And as he's telling me this, I'm like, well, what about all this advertising space you have right here to supplement your income, right? And I said to him, okay, well, what if I paid you like $100 to advertise in the back of your car? Would you do that? He goes, oh, hell yeah. I was like, okay. So I went home, started thinking. So the initial idea for Back Hustle was just advertise on Ubers, trailers, stuff like that. But then it blew up into, my brain sat in it for a little while. And now it's America's digital pitch platform for small businesses and big ideas looking for backing. So it's like a hyper-local Shark Tank idea.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, which we're doing an event. If anybody has kids out there or young people that are smart hustlers, go-getters, we're going to do, I coined it the Ultimate Hustler Championship. So at the end of the year, if you go to backhustle.com, post your hustle, pitch it to us. We're going to pick like 10 or 20 of them, the best ones, and hold a live event, the Ultimate Hustler Championship.
That is awesome, dude.
All because I used to strap something on the back of my car. My dad did it, right? How crazy is that?
That is crazy, dude. Dude, the energy you're bringing to this show already is off the chart. Yeah. And I want to thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to utilize some of that energy for entertainment to our audience here. And I want you to try and use it to tell me about what is the craziest transaction or customers you've ever worked through or worked with.
So buyer side, I've literally given bridge loans. I've given a second mortgage. I've become a mortgage bank. I had to because the deal was about to fall apart. So I literally held a note
Nice.
on somebody's house.
Okay.
Sales list side, during COVID, we had these stayover tenants that were just, in my opinion, one of the worst people in the world. Okay. I watched a lot of my friends have to sell their homes while they were renting another house that was their investment property, whatever. It really ruined them because they could stay there and not have to pay, Right. So I had to literally go deep undercover because I got a referral, and this woman was in the house and we wanted them out. So I literally, every time I talked to her, I'd act like I was like my client was a jerk for wanting to get paid and wanting to have access to her home that this tenant was living in the mortgage business as an underwriter too, working 80 hours a week. So she was so busy, I couldn't come to the house, but she wouldn't pay her mortgage. And if I had to be like, what a jerk. I can't believe my seller really wants you guys out. Although she sent attorney letters, that's horrible. I want to go home and take a shower every night. Yeah. Because I had to be nice to that person to make the deal happen. But that's what we do. We make the deals happen. But that was the craziest / most disgusting part. Like, just crazy funny.
Yeah. And I'm sure the disgusting part was because you had to be someone that you weren't, right? No, you're trying to appease and appeal to this person, but meanwhile inside you're like, can't stand you.
It was horrible. Meanwhile, my seller was going through cancer because she was so stressed out from it. And I'm not saying it was directly related, but sure disease causes, did not help in your body, and it's not a good mix. So yeah, so I know what it's like to be like a DEA guy. Not really. I didn't have a gun, but it was.
Your mind was your weapon.
It was. It really was. It was like verbal, mental jujitsu, whatever. I love it. Because I had to, I had to get it done. It was nuts. 2 decades
ago, can you remember your first client, your first customer?
Yeah, actually. Well, so the first customer was at one of 3 Pensbrook, where I met the VA attorney, VA appraiser that gave me the idea for the domain names. And then, funny story, that house that we just talked about was on Campbell in Belford. So that was the first sale, was a condo. My second sale was to my buddy James. He bought 331 Campbell from some little old lady. Sat down with all the agent, me, him, we all negotiated at a little table. She loved him because he was a new first-time home buyer. Got the deal done. So 2020, when I needed one more unit to make gold for the first time, guess what? The house next door I had to go deep undercover, was literally the house next door. So my first residential sale and my last residential sale of 2021, so 20 years in the business, we're next to each other. Literally share a property line.
That is trippy.
And that put me over the limit to get gold. I need the unit, I need the value, whatever. I need the unit. Yeah. That crazy?
That is a crazy story.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I love hearing the stories. It's really my favorite part of doing these shows. And the goal is to try and take something from these stories and offer some advice and some advantage to our buyers. From that first transaction till now, tell me what you have learned. Period. What have you learned from the business? What have you learned that you can help people with? What have you learned from your transactions?
What I've learned and what I've earned and what I've become is creative. You know, so if you're going to hire a realtor, I don't care where it is, what it is, call me. I'll set it up, obviously, through my team and my referral network. But I would say you hire a hyper local for localness, hyper focused if it's a niche and you have a niche property or a niche category in your life, whatever, which we have a bunch of those built out too. But make sure your agent's creative, because if you're not creative, real estate deals will die.
Yeah.
I mean, I've negotiated, leave my sign up on the property because it was a busy road and it was a big sign for an extra month. If I cut this or did that to make the deal happen.
Right.
Because whatever, who cares? That would cost me $1,000.
Yeah.
$1,500 with a billboard. So for $800 or whatever it costs, you know what I mean? It's just, but you got to be creative, If you're not creative, you won't last in this business.
100%. And
the whole business is creativity.
Anybody out there, I mean, we focus a lot on the buyers, but just listening to your mentality on marketing and, how extreme it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like you talk about hyper focus, yet your concepts, your ideas seem so encumbersome of so many different philosophies, right? Or ideas or concepts and ways to get stuff done. And honestly, dude, I mean, I think anybody thinking about listing their house, that's something that is crucial, right? Because you're going to have no problem finding those buyers. Do you enjoy doing listings or over buyers, or what do you like? What do you prefer?
I usually probably do about 60-40 or 50-50, depending on the year. I like both. I think there's, no chef has ever said my knives are too sharp, right? No, don't sharpen my knives. They're too sharp, right?
Yeah.
So every deal you learn something from, you hone your craft better, you get better, you become better, you get more creative. It just adds to your mental resume and your your real resume. So yeah, I like both. I would never want to just sit back and be a listing agent because I want to know the pain that the buyers are going through.
Yeah.
Because I want the best buyer. I like when a buyer on my listings have lost. The first question I ask is, have they lost any deals before?
Nice.
And why do I ask that, right?
Right. So you know what to look for.
No, because I know they're going to be easier to deal with throughout a transaction. They're going to appreciate the fact that they got this home.
All right.
They're not going to blow the deal over $2,000 over a gutter that they agreed to only structural, but somehow gutters are structural now. No, they're not. But so they're going to be like, nah, man, forget it. Gutter's good. I got a gutter guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? No big deal. Whereas if they haven't lost a house yet and they're living in this la-la land that it's easy to get a house, they're going to be like, well, I'll kill the deal over that. Yeah. Really? Okay.
Right.
So
And
I think as a listing agent, has the buyer lost?
That's a great.
Has this buyer lost deals before?
It's a great question.
Are they grateful? You know what I mean? Are they going to be grateful for this house?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you as you're talking, I'm thinking back to my spiel, and we've both been doing this for 20 years, right? So we've got plenty of years in the business, and I'll do the same thing when I'm talking to my buyers. Have you gone through this process before, right? And if they say yes, I often will. I kind of dig a little deeper, like yourself, because I want to know. Are there any landmines? Or are there any issues that I need to know about that we can avoid on this go around, right?
Yeah. I always say I can only fix what I know, right? So I don't care what your situation is. Just tell me what it is and I'll fix it. I'll figure it out. But if you're going to hide something from me and it's going to come up last minute, I can't fix that.
No, you got to be on the same team.
Yeah.
You're on the same team. With all the people that you've teamed up with, is there a favorite professional that you've worked with? Something that when you think about I know there's times when we get in these transactions and somebody will ask me for an attorney, or somebody will say, hey, I'm having issues with my taxes. Do you know somebody? I know exactly who I'm going to refer because that's the person I would want to work with myself.
It's tough, man. It's just no one communicates well anymore. So I have a really sour, I can't even remember the good ones because everyone just wants to text or, send whatever. It's just nobody does it. So it's hard to say, it's hard to pick one out that's good because I don't think, man, it's really hard to pick it out. It's tough. And if you narrow it down to best painter in town, you're like, all right, I know that guy's good, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know even if I use him, but as far as, man, it's really tough.
I love to ask that question because it stumps most people because I find that I think most people are like, well, I don't want to say this person, even though I really want to say this person. Well, not most, some people will say that. Not say you
I wish I was like something was jumping out of me. You know what I mean? But
a good answer is the professional that works like me.
Well,
right?
that's
that
how
offers
I feel.
the services that I'm offering.
Communicate, and keep your word and man, I couldn't even do the math. I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars doing the right thing.
Right.
I don't care because I sleep well.
That's it.
And that's all that matters to me because whatever, money's money, man.
That's it. My father, I grew up, my father used to always tell me, he said, boy, your name is worth more than $1. Once you lose it, you can't buy it back.
Yeah.
Well, I've always remembered that. it's always been like, we've all been in those situations where it's like, I could do this and make that. Of course. And then you get that those devil and angel on the shoulder. You're like, but hopefully the good people always listen to that angel.
Those are sprinters, and I'm not a sprinter. I don't like sprinters. I'm a marathon guy. I don't run them, but I like people that do mental marathon. I'm a mental marathon guy. So
I love it.
Yeah, sprinters. I don't got no time for it. I can't stand it.
No.
Yeah.
With all the people you've worked with, you said you got a little bit into the mortgage business. Do you have what is your love-hate relationship with the mortgage professionals out there, or the industry, I should say? As a mortgage guy, tell me what we can work on better.
Again, so communication, right? I hate when my buyer is like, I can't believe they're asking for this document again, and that's fine if it expired,
right?
But if just because underwriting didn't ask you, or you know what I'm saying, if it's truly expired, cool, I get that. But if it's just a lack of, again, chain email or whatever, pick up the phone, right. Stop texting, stop emailing, pick up the phone. Perfect example. I'm on my way here, and it's been a hell of a week. Crazy shit has happened that I just can't even describe. So in addition to that, I a company named, a pool company that's supposed to be at my house. And I'm running out the door a little bit late. So I look at the phone. I'm like, I get a text that says, hey, we were just at your house. We finished up early today. When will you be back? I'm like, okay, cool. So I call.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Chris too from such and such place. I'm like, hey, and so it rings, the phone number they call me, supposedly text me from, it goes to the store. And I'm like, oh, hey, And they're like, hey, it's so-and-so world. And I'm like, it's Chris. And they're like, sir, who? I'm like, well, someone just texted me on this number. So I'm assuming I could just call this number back and get the guy Chris. Right. Why am I getting this store? Right. Why don't I have Chris's number if Chris was just at my house?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, everyone buys into technology as a short-term, like, save you time. It costs you more time and energy in the long run. Yeah. It's more frustrating. It just pisses people off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a shame.
And it's crazy because the more and more time goes by in this industry, and those who have been doing this for a long time can I'm sure agree with me here. It's becoming so technical, and in some ways that's great, right? Yeah. It's sped up the process. It's streamlined a lot of the issues out there, but you lose that touch, that connection, right?
Perfect example. So I have buyers. They're about to list their home. The house comes on the market, which I thought was way underpriced. So I don't even know. I'm in the house. I'm like, what am I missing here? Like, so news gonna be multiple offers. Put in a nice contract. It's contingent, fine. Maybe not the best offer. Way above list. Very nice offer. Very nice offer. Good agent involved. We're gonna get the deal done. Big team. Everything's cool. I get a universal response from showing time. Our seller has decided to select an offer. Please allow us to know if you would be willing to be a backup offer. How about fuck you? How about fuck you? How about you call me or text me that? I spent an hour and a half in a house with people who liked and loved your client's house. They fell in love with your client's house. Right. Now, maybe if you priced it right, there would have been 30 people in the house. There would have been 10. But my people loved the house. They were willing to pay a lot of money for your house. The kid loved the house. He still talks about the big house, right? They don't deserve a call back to their agent to say, hey man, look, the other offer was just cash. Right. We had to take, but you know what? Thanks so much. By the way, they live around the corner. Right. They're basically neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, just that touch is so lost, and it's like, I hate it.
I'm telling you, that personal touch is what separates the greats from the OKs.
Without a doubt. Showing time just went to submit an offer. Like, what? Like, what about anytime I send an offer, this is what happens. I call. Yeah. Find out about the situation, which if any listing agent puts in their notes, do not contact a listing agent, you shouldn't be a listing agent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's your job, literally, is to field the interest on your listing. Yeah. And you don't want to be contacted about your listing.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's crazy. I've never, I don't even know how often I've seen that. I mean, I'm sure it's out there. To me, it just baffles me. It's like being a salesperson, but don't call me. Because I don't want the sale. But I'm a salesperson, or I'm a professional, but I just don't have time for you. Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insanity. And hey, if that's what you're looking for, there's a bunch of guys out there doing that. So call them, hire them. But don't call me, because I'm going to call you. I'm going to pick up the phone. Yeah. We're going to have awkward conversations if we need to. I'm going to break bad news to you. Yeah. You're going to hear my voice. So you're going to know, like, how I mean it, why it happened, not just like, oh, we lost the deal. What does that mean via text? Like, how does somebody get that news? You know what I mean? Like,
you lost the deal. Well,
just bedside matter.
How about why?
Just, phone side matter. Let's have some phone side matter instead of, we're not doctors, but we still, we have to deliver bad news sometimes, Yeah, and it's nice when you do it nicely.
Yeah. It just, like I said, dude, it's what separates us from those.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, you've told so many stories already that I'm going to try to pull one more out of you before we get into that.
I don't really want to.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, stop. Twist my arm. Stop. Give me the happiest moment in your career, dude. What was in the last 2 decades? Is there a moment that when you think of that moment, you remember why you do what you do?
I mean, it's real estate related, obviously, but when I got the registered trademark for Mr. Zip Code, I was like ecstatic, man, because I've fought Motown Records in court, federal trademark court, over M-Town clothing, like a funny thing I was trying to do just for, like, to start a fundraiser for kids and stuff. Right. I literally fought them in federal trademark court. Like, so wow. I know what it's like to wait 2 years, actually wait 1 year to find out that the logo was off. So we had to refile it as just the name brand, like 2 years, almost to the date. You know what I mean? To find out if you own something. But once you own it, nobody can do shit about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was, I mean, it's real estate related because it's the future of my company, future of my life, hopefully. Yeah. And what we're building. So that was, when I opened that up, I was like, man, it was just awesome.
Listen, if I ever do a show about the importance of a brand, I hope you come on that one.
Oh, man, I'm all brand. That's Mr. Zip Code is building, branding, and empowering the best local hyper-local, hyper-focused real estate agent in every town
Yep.
across the country and every niche. I'm talking adult community, divorced couples, homes with special needs children, everything. There's so many niches. And like, if you just woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to focus on this town and that niche and use all the tools out there, which we're like drinking from fire hoses with all the stuff you can do with technology and stuff, you'll win. Yeah. It might take you 2 years, but the best part about Mr. Zip Code, when you become a member, can you sell James Murphy Mortgage Group? Can you sell it?
So sure I could.
But,
of course I could.
But
oh no, not event. No. So I see.
Can you exit? Can you exit and sell your business?
No.
You can sell your database, right?
Yeah. Right.
You can sell Mr. Highlands. You can sell Mrs. Homedale.
Right.
And we want you to, because the more money you get for your brand, the more it proves our concept. Yeah. And by the way, there's 2 ads on your member page, so you can offset and leverage it with your mortgage rep or your title company too. So it's almost like you don't have to pay for the month if you're so inclined, or you're an HVAC guy, whoever you want.
How many agents are going to ask me to help sponsor those things? I'm just wondering about it, thinking about it. Dude, that's all. One thing I've heard you say a lot is a strong focus on focus, right? On staying focused, and I think that's something that we can advise our first-time home buyers and give them that tip, right? The advantage that I've gotten from you, just listening to you for the last 20, 30 minutes or so, is how important it is to stay focused.
Yeah. Right? Don't chase the shiny object, right? Right. I did. I spent $12,000 on commercials in 2000, I don't know, 8 or 9 or whatever. Mr. Middletown. Make Mr. Middletown your homeboy. So
you're still spending money. I see you on billboards and everything.
But one thing changed it. The market changed a little bit. And I was in Long Branch. And some guy was like, I was showing his house and he goes, hey, Mr. Middletown. I'm like, oh, yeah. Why don't you call me? He goes, well, it's his Long Branch. And I was like, shit. And that night I went home and bought charlieo.com. Like, I got it. Oh, my God, the market's changing. No, dummy. I had built this massive presence and I just let it dwindle because I tried to chase the state, Right. But now I'm Mr. Garden State Real Estate Group, but that's cool. We handle my team handles the whole time. My goal, and I don't think one realtor, 1.6 million realtors in the world, in this country, not one of them would say in a year and a half, I will never list a property outside of Middletown Township by myself ever again. Once I fill out my team fully. Right. You're in Howe, you get Mr. Howe, and you get my knowledge and my experience. I will never list, and I guarantee, I challenge any other realtor in the world, in America, to say, no, I love my town, and I believe in my town so much, and I love to sell my town, that I will not sell any other town. You won't do it.
No.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how much I believe in Mr. Zip Code. That's how much I believe in my branding. That's how much I believe in what we're building. So. And
I think that says to our audience how much they should be believing in you when they hire you as their professional.
Without a doubt.
Because they're going to get this kind of passion. They're going to get this focus, this commitment and dedication that is worth it.
I even say, I don't care if you got a list for your sister or your grandmother. I get it, right?
Right.
Call me over, I'll give you my advice for free. Because hey, then I'm going to know it's coming out too on the market. Maybe I'll sell it for you.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that's cool too. I'm not greedy. You know what I mean? Right. But I want to give you the knowledge and information. I want to see you come out $50,000 less because and Elsie doesn't know, she lists in Bayonne or whatever.
Right. Or she has her old real estate license or
Right.
I get that a lot. Like, my family is a mortgage professional.
Yeah. And by the way, I can co-list with Aunt Betty or Aunt whatever. You know what I mean? If you want my knowledge and my hyper local abilities, and dude, I exhaust every option on every sale. Like, I call people, I make things like I'm a magician. Like, that's what we are. We're realtors. We're literally the magic show. We move the bodies under the stage. You know what I mean? We're not really the magician. We're the body mover. That's how the casket wakes up open, and then we move the body back, and then the body's back in there. Okay. That's what we do doing deals. We just make magic happen, and no one even sees it. They don't know what we do. They don't know we called our friend. They know we did this. So they don't know all the things we do for them, and that's cool. They don't have to. No. But they should have someone doing that for them.
They should.
So that's what I think you should do. So I'll split the listing with Aunt Millie, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Co-partner. She can be at a different brokerage. It doesn't matter. You can do that too.
That's it.
It works.
Listen, Mr. Magic Man, I want to hear about, we're just about ready to wrap this up. And I'm almost hesitant to even do this because I don't
want to go full hour?
I don't want this to end. I mean, honestly, I feel like this has been fun. This really, really has been fun. And maybe we'll do a second show, but tell me, this is really one of my favorite parts of the show. And this is where we leave our audience with a parting piece of pie, right? And if you can imagine, pie is an acronym. Yep. I'm an acronym freak, and I say that every time. But pie is something. P stands for something profound. Okay. I want you to blow their mind if you go that route. Something inspiring is the I, where we're going to really raise those emotions, or something entertaining. Make us laugh, make us, entertain. Which you can do one of all three, or you can just pick one.
I'm gonna go inspirational, right? So,
okay. I can see that.
And part of the reason why I like Back Hustle so much, and the whole idea, and I do a podcast called Back Hustle too. It's really just to have fun and talk to people that are awesome and good. Nice. So please come on that.
I would love to be on that.
So we'll do that. I'll be the one asking questions.
That works for me.
But like, just because you're like, you have an idea that doesn't work right away, like don't throw it out, right? Be like, come like an idea hoarder, like I do. Like my new logo, this, like, I'm going to tell this story in Back Hustle. That logo,
show the camera.
This logo, right? My cartoon guy, who I love, my cousin, he works for Marvel. I had him, finish it. But he literally started as a clothing company called Garden Hate. Like when New York was out there, I always thought the shape of New Jersey looked like a face.
Right.
I always did. Everyone's like, you're crazy. I'm like, yeah, it does. Look at it. It looks like a face. Like, it looks like a face. That's why the back of my head and my shoulder looks like Sandy Hook. Like 100%. It's literally the shape of New Jersey. So that's awesome. So I bought it. I paid this artist to design it. And it's literally just the shape of New Jersey. It turned into a Garden Hate. Then from there, whatever. Clothing companies, don't do it. Don't ever do it unless you can, like, if you're trying to start a clothing company, make sure you're not the one putting the shirts in the press. Just like grow the brand and then like let somebody else ship them.
Sell it on Back Hustle.
Well, you can. You can actually create a hustle and sell your clothing. Yeah, to see if it works before you go spend $30,000 designing a bunch of t-shirts and hats. And only buy one size hats. Don't buy, buy the ones that are adjustable.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and one color. See if it works. Coming from me, believe me.
Great advice.
But yeah, don't stop. Right. You can just take it and put it over here, because that little guy then turned into this little character with flip flops. That was Mr. Jersey Shore was going to be. Like, I was like, I'm going to run Jersey Shore team.
Yep.
And then I was like, wait a minute. And sat him down. He turned into this, and then he turned into this eventually. And I was Mr. Garden State.
I love it.
Real estate group. You know what I mean? But if I'd stopped and been like, oh, Garden Hate didn't work, right. I'm going to throw that out, forget about it. Right. Like, maybe it's just not the right time for the idea, but it's the right idea.
Yeah.
Per se. If you believe it's good, then it's going to hit. You just got to keep it around.
Stay patient.
You can chase your dream at 5 miles an hour here, the other dream at 60 miles an hour here. You know what I mean? So just, if it's good, just keep working it, keep finessing it, and something good will come out of it for sure.
It's awesome.
And if it doesn't, at least you got a cool story. Right?
Yeah. And I would even say that, I would even tie that to just trying to buy the house, right? How many times do we talk to people that have given up? Or like, oh, I tried to buy a house 2 years ago and, it was too hard, or it was too expensive, or
one thing I always say, and I'm not a big monotony or repeating stuff, but this is true. I always say, I believe a realtor, I don't know when it was in like 1700, coined the phrase, everything happens for a reason. Because I've never, no matter how many bad news I've had to deliver to people, lose a house, lose that house, whatever it is, they're always usually very happy where they end up. Mm-hmm. And they're not like, damn it, I wish I got that house. When they find what they get, they're usually very happy with what they get. And they're like, I'm glad that one didn't happen. It was on too busy road. I'm glad that one didn't work out. I know that neighbor now, he's a nut job. Whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, which I usually know what neighbors are nut jobs too when you're hyper local.
That's it.
I could fill you in. Aunt Betty doesn't know that from Bayonne. But yeah, so just, I think that's it. Just
don't give up.
Just don't
stay
give
focused,
up. Yeah. And everything happens for a reason.
And sure. Dude, that's great advice, right? Because everybody's got an idea. Everybody's got something, and I'm sure we just push it to the side when life gets crazy, or we get that infamous curveball thrown at us.
And be open to feedback too. Like a lot of times, no one wants to be told their baby's ugly, right?
Right.
I don't have a baby, and my homie, my dog, is not ugly. That's for sure.
Right.
It says Frenchies are ugly, but they're ugly cute. But like, nobody wants to be told their baby's ugly. So that means I don't want to be told my idea is bad. But if your idea is maybe just not bad, maybe it's just a little bit off. So take feedback. You know what I mean? Yeah. And creative feedback. It's nothing wrong with that.
Wow.
Drop your ego. Zero ego. All we go, baby.
Ooh, zero ego. All we go. I love that. We're gonna end on that because that was fantastic. And I want to thank you, Charlie, for coming out. I really appreciate you being here and just giving some of this advice and telling us your stories and filling this show with the energy. I don't know how I'm going to even get back to doing anything else. This is awesome. So I want to thank you guys for checking us out here and chiming into the Advisor Advantage with James Murphy, where we are giving you the advantage you need for the experience you want. And we'll see you on the next show. Thank you so much.